Welcome to The Patty Show. My name is Patty Setiatti, and in this podcast, we'll explore the crossing point of the three P's: passion, pleasure, and positivity, and how they can lead you to your own personal paradise. We'll chat with inspiring guests, share practical tips, and dive into stories that will empower you to live your best life. Let's get the Patty Party started. Welcome back to The Patty Show, everybody. Woohoo! Yes. Thank you, studio audience. Woo, we love the energy today. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a fun one today, y'all. We're on episode 64. That's crazy.
Wow.
From fear to freedom. It's going to be a fun episode. So grateful. I'm your host, Patty Setiatti. You know, I have the privilege of showing off very passionate people that I have the pleasure of connecting with and that share a lot of positivity to this world. And it's going to be a fun one today, episode 64. Before we continue, I just want to shout out our previous guest, Patricia, our Brazilian sister, or some people call her Pachi, P-A-T-Y, my twin. I'm sorry. I guess that's the Brazilian way they say it.
Oh, lovely.
But thanks for coming to the Patty Show, girl. She was super vulnerable, talking about her story, you know, moving from Brazil to the U.S., the inspiring immigrant story that she was sharing. She was even sharing about like her divorce too, all the struggles and everything. But she's killing it now, working in tech, doing foot volley consistently. She's improved a lot, so proud of you. And we'll have you on the show again soon, and maybe get the other Brazilians. That would be a really fun time.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome, yeah. Speaking of awesome, I have an awesome guest today, y'all. This is going to be a fun one. So today, my guest, she is an artistic data scientist with a love for adorable cats, kittens, all those cute little felines. Her warm energy always brightens up the room. You can see it's already, the light and everything. She blends tech and art together with her graphic design and everything that she does so smoothly. Call her Michael Jackson Jr., smooth criminal. Minus the criminal. She's not a criminal. Give it up for Rosa Cho, everybody. Woohoo! Rosa, thanks for coming to the Patty Show.
And thank you for having me.
If you could give a little self-intro to everybody, background, hobbies, passions, you know, and of course how we know each other. The floor is yours. Do your thing.
Hi, I'm Rosa, and let's say that I didn't always start off in data science, but I first started off in UX design and graphic design.
Wow.
So I first went to college, like intending to go to medical school, but then again, however, when I realized that one, I was unable to get into medical school, and two, I liked working with design a lot more. I just went on to work as a UX designer before changing my mind and going fully into data analysis because things change, and not to mention that one of the more unusual things that happened to me was that it's not just passion that drives me, but also believe it or not, undiagnosed ADHD and the realization that all these traits that are associated with ADHD, like hyperfixation, inability to hold attention for a long time, and ironically, having a very good memory for when hyper-focused on a certain topic, all relate to ADHD.
Wow.
And so I guess part of what I'd like to talk about is how dealing with an undiagnosed, I wouldn't say mental disorder, but definitely something that is neurodivergence has affected my life in many ways. And speaking of neurodivergence, I'm also the older sister of an autistic younger brother who is technically a tier 3 autistic individual, which means that he is nonverbal, has a very severe developmental disability, and thus is dependent on others. But however, he has his own unique traits and is and he's his own individual. You could say he's his own man.
Oh man, there we go. We love it. Well, you're a great big sister. This is my mini flower section of the Patty Show. Flowers, flowers, flowers. I feel like, girl, the first time I met you, you always had the warm energy, the caring vibe. It makes sense that you take care of your brother in such a great way and a warm, welcoming way. If y'all don't know Rosa, she's a real one. She keeps work interesting. We only
Yeah.
see each other maybe like once a week
I
because of the
know.
whole hybrid schedule
Mhm.
with work and everything. But every time I see you, it's always a warm Monday for me. So I'm
Yeah.
grateful for you.
Awesome.
How do we know each other though specifically?
Oh, let's it. Yeah, we both work for the same company, and not to mention that we both have, well, we isn't, even though we're like part of different teams, but we still do similar assignments and work on, like, same stuff.
Yeah, a lot of safe
Yeah.
stuff, a lot of confidential stuff. We can't release too much,
Obviously not.
but it's based on like the AI sphere and all that stuff, which I feel like everything is nowadays. Speaking of though, you did mention the whole art thing and like UX design. What does UX mean exactly?
Oh, it means user experience design. So basically, what I do is
Okay.
that I look at websites and apps, whether it's mobile apps or even web-only browser apps and APIs, and see how usable they are. So just by judging and moving around a website, I can determine, is this intuitive enough for anyone to use without any prior instruction? Can they take one good look at it and think, yes, I know where to go to?
That sounds like it's gonna be working for me. I'm not a tech guy, guys. I just press
Yes.
buttons. I'm like beep, boop, boop, boop. I don't know. So you just make it easier for the use. Oh, that's why UX.
Definitely.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, user experience, because it actually combines psychology with graphic design and web development.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a multidisciplinary field, and one thing that I loved about that work is that like everybody needs it. Like from big names such as Google and IBM, they need UX designers, to like ordinary folk, like local businesses and such as lawyers or anyone who has a website needs someone to come in and say, okay, is our website good enough so that users know where to find the information they need, and if it's not, how do we improve it? And that was my job for
cool.
4 years.
And it's a little different, right? When it comes to like a desktop kind of interface and then like mobile kind of. Because I mean, shout out to, I think Everfit is the program I use for my online clients for personal training. And what I love about them is like, this is not even paid promotion, but like it's so seamless on the app. Like I wish I could show it off over here, but like you just tap, you can like put things like tracking your weight or like seeing your workout and everything on the app. It's so quick. It's like, it's not complicated at all. And also when you do it on the browser, it's also super seamless, and it makes sense, because I've seen some programs for, not even just for like personal training, but in general, where you see like, okay, in the browser, wow, this is amazing. Like I can click everything, but then on the phone, you're like, man, this sucks. This is like I'm playing a Nintendo DS.
That was also my job too, is to make sure that this transition between web browser, desktop, and mobile is seamless, because everything about that can appear very good on the desktop because you have all the space and real estate. Where transitions better on a smaller scale, and it's not easy, but thank God that there's a lot of like frameworks as well as a lot of coding that has already been done for designers. It's just only a matter of, okay, we need to reorganize everything so that everything looks less cluttered and more intuitive to use.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And then we're back, everybody. Sorry, a little technical difficulties. Speaking of the whole UX design and all that, you did mention how like it is easier to work with more real estate when it comes to like a browser and everything compared to like mobile. What if I made a website from like the mobile version into like a browser or desktop thing? Is that harder, easier? Like walk me through that process a little bit.
So basically, it's just that if you start off with the web version, okay, so pretend that you're looking at this real estate, and you're just thinking, okay, everything is all compressed in smaller details. So how do I make it expand it? So basically, it's just only a matter of, okay, so using this framework, we can simply shift it towards towards the desktop, and it's just a matter of rearranging things, as well as maybe, like, depending on what the client wants, adding in a little extra details, such as certain animations, or basically just dividing the website into different sections so that it can go through each part everything on one page.
Mm.
Because what things used to be is that you would have, like, as with most websites, you have multiple pages. So you click on one link, takes you to a different window, another link takes you to a different window.
Mm-hmm.
But now the trend is just, we put everything on one page, one very long infinite canvas. And instead of opening another window, we're just going to one different section at a time. So think of it like those really long scrolls.
Oh wow, that's
those
a good
long
analogy.
ninja scrolls. And then it goes from, okay, you see this, we must go to the ninja code of the shinobi to this section.
Shout out to the shinobi out there. If you know, you know.
Yes.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
I love that transition. Actually, I'm learning so much. Shinobi. So you're a big anime fan as well, huh?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, there we go. There. What is your favorite anime right now that you could recommend for the people out there?
Chainsaw Man.
Chainsaw Man. Yeah. Okay, I need to. Our boy Pochita. I love Pochita.
Indeed, yes.
He's the cutest one. Yeah. You know they're selling those popcorn buckets for like hundreds of dollars, right?
Holy moly, those scalpers are insane.
I know. I wish I would have gotten one. My brother got one for our cousin. And I want to steal it. Sorry, Corey. I want to steal it. I'm gonna be real with you. I might when I go back Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Oh, this is coming out in Thanksgiving. Actually, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes.
Yes. We are grateful for anime because Chainsaw. Oh, that's Chainsaw Man is a good one.
Actually, there's another thing that I want to recommend that. From the same mangaka, there's this. He also made this really excellent manga called Look Back, or was it Don't Look Back? I am so sorry that I'm fudging up the title, but either way, when it's Look Back is essentially a manga about two girls who both share their same passion in making comics and manga, and that passion started off when they were in middle school. But those two girls are very different. One girl is outgoing, very, very fun-loving, and has a lot of friends, and she mostly just makes her comics, just for fun, like just simple 4-panel comedy sketches. And then there's the complete opposite. Her friend is a complete shut-in and someone who doesn't even go to school because she is so hyper-focused on her art that at a certain point when the other girl visits her house for the first time, the entire hallway is just filled with her sketchbooks.
Wow.
So Look Back is essentially a story about friendship, but also a lot about the nature of art and the realization that sometimes, even when you think you're good enough, it is not perfect. Like, even the other one, she tries her best when she realizes that there's another, that her friend is 100 times better than her. Artistically wise, she puts in everything to improve her art, but it will never be good as her friend. And what's ironic is that her friend thinks the same thing about herself.
Wow.
You would think that, but your composition is perfect, your landscapes are perfect, your environmental design is amazing. Why do you think that you're not perfect? And the artist just looks down at herself and says, it's just a feeling I've always had. You just can't explain it.
So that's from the same creator of Chainsaw Man, you said?
Yes.
Wow.
And it became, and this year it has been adopted into a movie.
Really? Oh my goodness. I need to get back into it. My brother's really into anime and a lot of my cousins and family, so I think we need to have them talk to you about it because you're the sensei? I used to watch a lot of like Fairy Tail. Have you ever watched Fairy Tail before?
I have watched bits and pieces of it. I have one of my cousin's kids. They are fans of it.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Not so much.
It's very, I watched it like maybe in middle school when I was in Indonesia, so it's like nostalgia, and I love the anime, but the storytelling you can tell is very shonen. Nothing against it. Sometimes it's good to watch it.
I mean, hey, it's good. Hey, it's once in a while you need to take a break from the serious stuff.
Oh yeah.
I need to let you borrow the manga for Look Back because.
Oh please, I would love to check it out.
Totally, I have a copy of it and.
Recommend,
highly recommend.
Yeah, how long is it though? It's not too long.
It's just one volume.
Oh yeah, oh my god, that's even better for me.
It's this.
Oh, it's like that. That's awesome. Well, we're gonna have to check it out and have a review on it. Speaking of this right here.
Yes.
This is the legendary book. Oh. This has a lot of your like art and doodles and all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Could you let's see a couple of things over here, y'all. Look at this, showcasing all the patties
so
over here.
basically, it's just that what you're going to look at is some really everything that you see here is mostly sketches. So in other words, nothing is finished. Everything is started. So as a result, they suck. But still,
Don't worry, they look amazing.
Everything starts from
something. Yeah.
Okay. So a few fashion.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Let me see that one.
Yeah.
Hold up, y'all. Wow. So this is you're making a clothing line too, girl? What? Soon?
I don't know. It's just that when it
comes... It's just an idea when it comes in?
It's just an idea.
Oh my God, that's
basically,
so cool.
it was inspired by, it's inspired by, like, feudal Japan, specifically, not quite Meiji era, but basically that era where, think Inuyasha.
Ah, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask what era that was, but now you got it.
Inuyasha era.
Yes. Even if you don't watch anime, I'm sure people know about Inuyasha. Yeah, so that's that era. Oh, okay. I do see the inspiration. I see.
Yeah, like I especially loved Kikyo's like priestess design. So I'm like, oh gosh, if only someone adapted that into a complete clothesline. But I also love Inuyasha's outfit, and so basically anything with long flowing wing sleeves, as well as the baggy pants.
Yes.
Since
shout out to baggy pants.
Patty can attest that I love my baggy pants.
She loves her baggy style over here. No, but honestly, I need to wear more baggy pants. I mean, I'm wearing a little bit, but I need a little more baggy from my pants because I remember that era when it was like tight jeans. Oh goodness. Yeah, I still have them. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I'm so grateful that now it's more a relaxed fit and it's way more comfy and more roomy, to be honest.
Yeah, indeed.
Right, let's see what else we got.
So,
this is so cool. The little art.
Okay.
So your thought process is whenever an idea comes, you just start like drawing it down, or do you like write it down?
Basically, it's just absolutely spontaneous. So once I get the idea, so I'm like, I really need to hold on to this idea because I know I'm definitely going to forget.
Yeah, we're busy with life and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to look for any good ones that I'd like to share. And here is one of my real. Okay, so there's this pencil that has 4 different pigments in it, and so basically what you do is that you just take it, draw it, and whatever color flows out, let it flow out.
Wait for this one.
Yes.
No way. So it's not just like a colored pencil; it's a specialized one.
Yeah. So it has like think of it like 4 different colored leads: red, yellow, green, and purple. Or was it blue? It was actually there's 5. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple, 6 colors merged into one pencil. And so basically, as you're drawing along, you're just like, okay, so I can't instead of focusing on one color, I'm just going to let all the colors flow out. So whatever flows out gets captured on paper. It's supposed to be. It was like I remember it used to be like super popular in the 90s, but I guess I don't really see it that much now. But I found it in Daiso, so I decided.
I love that place, Daiso, Japan. Yeah.
I'm going to recapture my childhood and basically do that because every time my parents bought me those specific colored pencils, I would use them all up to the stub.
Wow, this is so cool. I thought it was just one thing, but everything just kind of blends into itself kind of thing.
Yes.
Wow, that's insane. I don't know how she thought about it, y'all. That's amazing. I gotta see one more piece. Let me back again, y'all. What do we got here, Rosa, for the next one?
For my one final one is just a sketch for a character design
oh my God, I gotta see
for a character from my comic project, which is heavily inspired by Warhammer 40,000, and this character is a cyborg, full body cyborg who is the protagonist of that comic.
Wow! So you're gonna make a little comic about it, or what's the plan?
So basically, it's just that I already wrote out the entire comic story, but all I need to do is to translate it from a script to a comic.
Oh, it's exciting!
It is a lot of work.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes this is where the curse of ADHD comes in, because the ADHD craves perfection. So it's like, if the script is not perfect, the comic will not be
never come
perfect.
out.
But
Yep.
then I'm just like, oh, is silence perfection?
Yes.
I don't need you to stop me.
Mhm.
I am my own worst enemy. Yes.
Oh my God, I resonate with that
Yes.
so much. I've been getting back into like posting fitness TikTok stuff.
Yes.
And honestly, like in the beginning, it took me a while to do it because I was like, the perfection is like, she was like, Patty, you know you've done better work. You know you've done all this production, which like I guess it's true. Whatever, making stuff perfect is great. Whatever, but then like you said, it's become your worst enemy because
definitely.
you have the idea, you have it ready, and you're never gonna put it out in the world, even though you know it's gonna give some value. And it's not even about like the money part, but it can be. If you want to sponsor the Patty Show, you know where to find me. But it's also just like, I think of it as like, if I can help one person in their fitness journey and giving them joy from this comic or whatever it is, then it's worth it. So sometimes shutting that down, it's still hard for me personally. What I like to do is I'm just like, stop talking and just post it. Do it as fast as I can before my I guess regret. Not, I wouldn't say regret, but like that inner voice is like, stop. I just start going, posting it, boom, and it's too late now. It's already up there in the world. You know. Do you have any strategies to fight that inner voice?
On one hand, I was going to say, well, sometimes you need to, sometimes it's all about the environment. So like, one thing I realized is that I used to try and do everything in my room, because for a brief amount of time, I was a bit of a hikikomori, a bit of a shut-in, in which I was just so hyper-focused. I had just graduated from school. I had a huge amount of student loan debt, so I just needed to focus on working. And so I was just so hyper-focused on working and building my UX portfolio that I simply just isolated myself from in my room and everything. And after like about a year of dealing with this, when one of my friends called me and she asked me, are you okay? You look like you haven't seen sunlight in forever. So I'm like, I'm fine. I'm just need to work. And they're like, but are you actually living?
Oh my God.
Because like, there's a difference between surviving and living. And right now you're just surviving. And so then I was like, you know what? Maybe I need to get out of my room a little more, because sure, my room has everything I need. It has a mini fridge, bed, computer, internet, everything. It has basically everything that I need.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, it became a toxic environment because I became so shut in that I completely shut out everyone else. So yeah, I needed to get out of that environment and and find other places to explore. Like, okay, started off with going to the public library, and then
I love going to the library. That's a big tip, y'all. Wherever you guys are at, especially in the States, library cards are free. And you can even go in there without a library card and just like hang out, do some work maybe. You can even watch, headphones in though, watch a cat video, you know, like make sure you don't blast it or anything. But like that's use your resources. You know, we pay taxes.
Definitely.
You know, so we got to use our resource. Library. You're right. I have to go back to my favorite library. It's always nice to see some books and that change of environment. That's another thing I really want to highlight. I completely agree. Like that's why I like going for walks or like changing the position of like even the desk, because we have the standing desk in our job. Shout out to that. I love adjusting that, or even just like taking another way home, for example. Like just change of scenery. People don't realize it really changes your whole mindset. And since you know we work in the data kind of world where everything's just A, B, C, and it's always boom, 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 like methodical. It's nice to throw things off a little bit, get some spontaneity, and that's a really good tip. Shout out to the libraries.
And not to mention that I decided to join something called a hackerspace, which basically it's like this. So basically, like on physically wise, it's usually like a workshop, like a physical workshop that has all the tools you need. Like the one that I went to, shout out to Mag Laboratory.
Shout out.
They are thank you for being, you guys are the real MVP, especially you helped me out of my hikikomori stage. So Mag Laboratory was basically just like a workshop in an industrial area. So basically what they had is not just woodworking, but also metalworking, as well as ordinary tools. But they also had a lathe, forge as well as blow torches for
Wow.
anyone who wants to work with metalworking. But ultimately, true to the hacker name, they also have a really robust internet and networking system so that I could, well, take advantage of that
Yeah.
so that I can could take not only online courses but also even the courses that I took for grad school. When I finally decided I have saved enough money, and even though my student loans is never ending,
Yeah, it
I'll
feels
just bite the
unlimited.
bullet and
Yeah.
just go to grad school.
There we go. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
honestly, respect to you, Rosa. You
Yeah.
always use all your resources. That's the best
Mhm.
way to do it, yo. It's the biggest tip because like people, I think I heard this from a podcast. I think I forgot what it was. This fitness podcast,
Mhm.
ISSA podcast, International Sports Science
Okay.
Association. Shout out to them.
Mhm.
They helped me get certified. So one of the hosts, she was like, this phrase she always said was, "No ASCII, no Getty."
Mhm.
So like you won't get anything if you don't ask. You know, you never know. You know,
Yeah.
like if you never know, like you could get a free book out of nowhere if you just ask the librarian. Like, are there
Yeah.
any books you guys are throwing out? Yeah, there probably is. There's a lot,
Oh,
unfortunately.
yeah.
So you might as well use your resources, whether it's for the books, for the internet, like you
Yeah.
mentioned, good quality
Mhm.
stuff like that. Food. Shout out to food. Shout out to
Oh,
work.
definitely.
Amazing food
Mhm.
out here.
Yeah.
And just connections. So just use your resources. Ask, and then you never know. And if it's a
Yeah.
no, all right, move on to the next thing.
Oh, yeah.
Ask again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ask again. You know.
Mhm.
Speaking of asking, I do have to ask about this project that you did about image repair and restoration using deep learning.
Yes, that was my,
Yes, tell me.
that was the book. Okay, that was a project that got me published in IEEE, which is basically the International Electronics Engineering, and I forgot what the final E stood for, premier resource for all engineers of all different fields,
Wow.
as well as technologically advances and research in the entire world. So basically what it is that it was a project that I worked on for my machine learning class, in which I and my partner built this machine learning model in which basically it would intake an image that had any visible damage, such as too much noise, there is a visible hole in it, or there's some missing data that shows up as glitches. I'm going to use the term glitches very, very generally. So in this case, it's mostly just to mean missing or misaligned pixels. So basically what that model would do is that it would find the flaws, and using the pre-existing data, that is all the pixel data surrounding the flaws, it would try to correct it as best as possible, such as, if there's a spot, if there's a picture of a sunset and there's a visible black spot in the middle of the sun, if the machine would look at the surrounding pixels around that flaw and say, okay, clearly this spot needs to be filled in with yellow pixel data, and that's what it did. It took me even though I only had one semester to work on it, and technically it's still unfinished.
Yeah.
But it did what it was supposed to do, and with given enough time, it could be great. It could be great. But what I learned so much about it is, it was essentially the foundation of how I learned how generative AI works. So basically, it's all just math. It's all.
It's always math. I swear to God.
Yes.
Man, shout out to that. That's why, oh my goodness. Last time I did math was honestly maybe freshman year of college. I can't remember. Like legit math. Oh my God. That's my nightmare. That's why I'm an entertainer. Yeah, shout out to that.
Yes.
But it is math though because of numbers. Not just money, but like data for viewers and likes and all that. So don't run away from math. It's gonna come and catch you eventually.
Indeed.
You know?
Yep.
That's insane. Speaking of school, you went to UCSD?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you studied, what was it again?
Okay, so I studied a lot of things at UCSD. At first, I started off with neuroscience because I wanted to be a neurologist, but then struggled a lot with that. So then I changed it to cognitive science with a specialization in human-computer interaction, which, to put it down into bite-sized pieces, UX, user experience design. So yeah, it was just this huge shift from complete biological medical science to computer and design. And I was much happier with that, even though my parents didn't fully understand what I was doing. And even though, granted, this is where the fear part comes in, they were very disappointed when they found out that I couldn't get into medical school and had no interest in
Wow,
entering medical, let alone nursing school,
Mhm.
since my mother's a nurse and she really wanted me
Yeah.
to become a doctor. So when I told her I'm going to do design work and also like given enough years when I get into grad school, I'll focus on computer science. She was like, "Oh, that is disappointing."
Man, yeah, it's tough out here. And your family's from where again, originally?
Oh, they're from Korea.
Yeah, shout out to all our Koreans out there.
Mhm, yeah.
Annyeonghaseyo, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All the Asians out there. It's
Mhm.
I feel that
Yes.
with the disappointment. It's like a low key
Mhm.
disappointment. I'm sure they're proud of you now, but like
Yes, they are.
my dad and mom also, I remember
Mhm.
military was one of the paths, and then like lawyer
Oh
before and
my gosh,
everything.
yes.
You know, like the traditional.
Mhm.
Like people joke about it, like, oh, Asian parents are always like.
Mhm.
It's low key true. I don't think I'm thankful. At least it's not like super extreme. I know
Oh
some
my God, some of
some
them
are
are really
really extreme.
Yes.
So yeah,
Mhm.
so respect that you overcame that, and then you got your
Mhm.
master's in computer science
Yes,
at
I did.
Cal State.
Cal State
Fullerton?
Fullerton.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that was like about 2 years ago.
Mhm.
And actually, I'm going to get into some really personal stuff. You don't mind?
Yeah, of course.
In the first year of grad school, my dad passed away suddenly from a heart attack. And the thing is that despite the fact that at first it was like super difficult to
Mhm.
overcome the grief, it was at this point that I realized that I decided to read a lot more on the writings of Alan Watts,
Mhm.
Thich Nhat Hanh, and Thomas Merton, because all three of them talked about the nature of suffering, as well as it just in general that we always assume that life is a series of checks and balances.
Mhm.
That for every good thing, a good thing has to happen back in
Yeah.
return. For every bad thing, a bad thing has to happen in return. But what if it's not as simple as that? What if that the ever pervasive nature of suffering has existed, will always exist, but there is always ways to overcome it. So that's what so I just took in all their
Mhm.
writings and used it to help me, well, handle as well as accept the fact that, yeah, I lost my dad so suddenly, and even though I would have wanted more time with him,
Mhm.
I'm more grateful than resentful that he was in my life.
I love that. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing. I'm so sorry to hear that. I didn't know about that,
It's
but
okay.
thank you so much for sharing
Mhm.
about that, because grief, it affects a lot of us, and
Mhm.
it's nice that you've used that as a mindset shift, instead of just like
Mhm.
using as, like you said, resentment, feeling all those negative thoughts, and
Yeah.
use it in an empowering way. I love that, girl. You're doing a lot of amazing stuff out there. There's this thing that I want to know about that is also positive in your
Yeah.
life. The Autism and Mirror Neuron Lab. What
Oh,
is that
that is
about?
old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know how I found
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
What is that about right there? The Autism and
Okay,
Mirror.
shout out to my old professor, Professor Jamie Pineda. So
Yes.
basically, it's just that while I was still hopeful to become a neurologist, I decided to enter his autism and mirror neural lab. So basically, he created this research lab in which he wanted to figure out that there's a specific type of neuron that is essentially described as monkey see, monkey do. It is a neuron that is very essential to learning because, before we learn to speak, before we learn to communicate, we learn to see, we learn to observe, we learn to watch our parents do stuff. And whenever we watch someone do something, like for example, something as innocuous as pick up a phone and unlock it
Yeah.
with your thumbprint, you first observe them and you realize, oh, so there is a reason why they did that thing. And it's not just a random reason. That's a mirror neurons activating. That's a mirror neurons going, oh, I see,
I will
and
do.
I want to do.
Oh.
Which is so, and here's where the autism comes in, because what my professor, Dr. Pineda, proposed is that in autism, the mirror neurons work differently. How differently they work? Well, it's because, these specific mirror neuron groups, they either will activate or do not activate when certain actions appear. And so when I was volunteering for that, well, technically I was a student, so I was paid in experience and credits, not money.
Yeah.
So basically, what we were doing is that we were essentially just watching all these kids as well as affixing electrodes to their scalps to see which of these neuron groups activate when they see an action versus when they do the action. And so all that data was gathered together, and it was compiled for Dr. Pineda's research paper, which he eventually published. And yeah, so yeah, that was a really insightful look at how, like we put in a lot of research into the nature of autism, but ultimately it's not just about autism, it's about our own brains, about how we learn, how observation is a huge part of how we learn. You know what I mean?
No,
So,
absolutely, yeah. Especially like the visual learning. I think I'm low-key a visual learner, I'd say, because
they're all visual learners.
Yeah, for real. Like if people are, if it's like a lecture and it's just the whiteboard, for example, oh God, that's when it's like
definitely
just snooze fest, you know? So it's always nice to have like the visuals. And even when it comes to like, for example, when I'm performing or acting, when a director really kind of walks me through it, like even through their emotions, I've realized how much easier it is for me to grasp. And it just makes the whole like artistic process way more smoother when you're using like the visual and also just like all the different senses, honestly, because we have all these different senses to make art, to do things, and if we only have like only the visual and only the like the listening part, it's limiting from what we can kind of do as humans, and we can do a lot of stuff, honestly, as humans.
Yeah. So just one little thing is that there was just this hilarious incident where there's a brief video in which there are two videos that this one particular kid had to watch. One was someone saying, okay, in the world of Kung Fu, the most basic thing that you learn is to punch. And that's it. And of course, kids like, boring. And then the second one is when the instructor actually punches.
Yeah.
So then, and what's even funnier is that the kid actually repeats it and he almost punched the monitor.
Oh man, oh no. He took it a little too seriously.
Yes. So I'm like,
the monkey
he has
monkey
the spirit. He has the spirit.
Yeah, well, we'll give him that participation bonus. I love that.
Yes.
Oh my God. I'm curious about this North Star web hosting. What's that?
It's just a really it's just a really brief my first graphic design job, in which all I did was make design coupons and advertisements.
Oh man, but I love coupons, girl. You know, Asian family. My dad, he used to have. You remember those old coupon books?
Yes.
Oh my God, he would get them from like Burger King all the time. He used to. Oh man, this guy's funny. He would we would go to this signature Burger King near our place in Connecticut, and the staff already knew us already. So when he gave the like coupons, they're like, "Bro, you can use that again later." You know, like they hooked us up. Shout out to y'all in the Burger King over there. We appreciate you guys. Yeah. But yeah, he would use that coupon for that, and then I don't know if you guys have BJ's here.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh, okay. Well, actually, BJ's it's a different thing. It's not. not that BJ's. Oh, there's a warehouse store. It's like Costco.
Oh. Yeah. No.
All right, we're back again, y'all. Yes. Sorry, tech stuff, crazy, all that work. But yeah, Rosa was telling me about her secret stuff that she can reveal a little bit. Yes, okay. I could not dig down because Google doesn't have all our information out there just yet.
It is so secret. It is not on any of my social media stuff.
I love this.
Because, well, okay, I'm going to produce something very briefly. Shout out to Bellingcat, which is basically this an online open source investigative research group, in which what they do is that they use open source software as well as an entire worldwide web of independent investigators and journalists and research scientists to look into current events, ranging from the war in Ukraine to even what is going on in the middle of the ocean. And surprisingly, a lot of things is going on. So yeah, shout out to Bellingcat because here's where I come in. So basically, there was a brief time where during while I was in grad school for computer science, I got into cybersecurity. But there was one aspect of
Mm.
cybersecurity that I wanted to look into. Cybersecurity is divided into different phases. One half of those phases is called the defensive side, DevSec, which is basically just
Okay.
doing research, protective, with setting up protective services, as well as defensive measures. And the other side, OPSEC,
Okay.
offensive sec, which is basically just this is where the hack technically the correct term is
Uh huh.
cracking, in which you're basically cracking through security measures, as well as determining as well as testing security measures, and ultimately deciding where those weaknesses are and annihilating them. Very interesting stuff, which is why you will always find, which is why movies about hackers are either be really well written or just meh.
Man, crappy
Yes,
a little bit.
indeed.
I've seen a couple of
Mhm.
movies where you're like, this isn't real, or
Indeed.
video games too. I'm
Indeed.
like, come on, shut. I
Yeah.
love. Have you ever played Sly Cooper, the video game
Oh, I
series,
have.
with the little raccoon?
That's a
Yeah, that's one of my
yeah.
favorite
Hmm.
like video game series in the PlayStation. My
Yeah.
brother had that game, and I was addicted to that series. But if y'all don't know, he's
Hmm.
a little Well, he's not little actually. He's like a life-sized, is like
Hmm.
human-sized
Hmm.
raccoon with his turtle buddy that's around like 5 feet maybe, and then
Yeah.
his hippo buddy Murray. And there's like I think on the second one you get to play more of the turtle guy Bentley,
Hmm.
and there's like the hacking
Oh, I
stuff,
remember
you know?
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it is just what I don't even know how to visualize. It's think of like a little bit what's it called? Not what am I saying? Tetris. The other one, the shooting galaxy game.
Oh,
That small thing. What's it called? Can't think of the name.
I can't
Yeah.
remember it, but I know there's an arcade version of it in the cafeteria.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like you know that game where there's a spaceship and you shoot asteroids. So it's kind of like that, but you're in a, I guess, some techie environment where you're a green little triangle and you get to shoot these little things, pew, 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 and that's what
Yeah.
hacking is,
Mm-hmm.
according to the video game Sly
Yes.
2 and all of
Mm-hmm.
them. So shout out to that.
Yeah.
Definitely not real, right?
Nope.
No,
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 it's a lot more
oh,
complicated
good,
and
good,
more
good.
anxiety ridden than that.
That's why I don't do
So,
the
no,
cybersecurity.
no, no, no.
That's
Same here. But I do like one aspect, and it is the research aspects of it. So
mm.
basically, this is where the data analysis part of it
Ah,
comes
it's
in.
intersecting. Okay.
So basically, you're like gathering all this data of using whatever openly available information you have, whether it be googling things, looking through their social media networks, or even looking through like various websites that are
Hmm.
dedicated specifically for searching for certain specific information. Or if you're familiar with the work of Mr. Robot, you could go one step further
Okay.
and use tools like Kali, which is basically an operating system dedicated to
Mm.
cybersecurity. But Kali has tools within tools that you can use to research and find all these information regarding a certain person. So if you exist, they can find you.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh goodness gracious, y'all! I
Yes.
need to hide my browser history. It's not like there's anything crazy over there, you
Yes,
know.
but still, it is not that crazy, but it is still really interesting enough because one of the reasons why I got into it was because I found out that one of my friends was being cyber stalked by her boyfriend. So what I
Okay.
needed to do is that, using her permission, of course, that I would have to record every instance of when they interacted, every time that he would harass her on social media, every time that he would
Oh my
like
god.
like said something
Uh
slanderous,
huh.
because so basically the I can't go into full
Yeah,
detail
yeah.
yet,
Of
but
course. Yeah.
pretty much what happened is that there's a that he came from a very wealthy family. He was raised mostly by her aunt.
Hmm.
So her aunt was like her mother to her. One
Yeah.
day when her aunt passed away, well, she said to her boyfriend that, oh, I my aunt passed away, so there's some time, so I'd like to donate some money to her funeral. For some reason, her boyfriend got upset about that, and that's when his abusive behavior started
Oh
showing up. And
man.
so then my responsibility is just gathering all that instances of whatever time he harassed her on social media, so that they can use it as evidence, so that they can
Wow.
give it to her lawyer and the police to issue a restraining order against him.
Wow, you're doing a lot of complex work over there, Rosa.
It
You're
is.
killing,
It's just a
man.
lot of things, and not and on top of that, I was also, and on top of that, too. This might have been a bit of overreach, but at one point at one point, um, I contacted the apartment manager of where my friend
Hmm.
lived in and told him, "See this guy? This is his picture. This is his vehicle information. Do not let him anywhere near the apartment."
Man,
So
that's
yeah.
insane. No, I didn't deal with anything crazy like that, but when I was a resident assistant at
Mm-hmm.
my
Oh
university,
my gosh. All
I had
right.
to work a lot with like Department of Public Safety and like dealing with people like that trespassers or
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately restraining order
Yeah.
stuff, and
That's.
that stuff gets messy
Mm-hmm.
super quick. It's like shout out to all the people that work on that and make people stay safe because there's some psychotic people out
Yeah.
there, you
This
know.
is
So
terrifying.
if you have a restraining order, don't watch the Patty Show, please. You
Yeah.
know? Or
Indeed.
maybe watch it and maybe you can cleanse your
Mm-hmm.
mind because
Indeed.
that is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I did want to randomly go back to the
Mm-hmm.
moment before the camera cut off about BJ's. Not
Yes.
what we think. I didn't realize until after.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so there's like a warehouse store called
Yeah.
BJ's in
Yeah.
Connecticut. They
Mm-hmm.
have it like I guess on the East Coast. I
Oh.
think the
It's.
farthest west they go is like there's one in Nashville. Surprisingly, I don't know
Oh.
why.
Wow.
Yeah, there's some like in like Boston area, New
Mm-hmm.
York.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Costco basically, but it's BJ. So yeah, it sounds crazy. But my
Mm-hmm.
dad, you know, he loves the couponing stuff. So
Oh.
he, you know how
Yeah.
in Costco
Mm-hmm.
also they have the big booklet.
Oh, I love those booklets.
Yeah, they're so satisfying. He has like millions of them. But
Oh wow.
finally, when you know they made the app,
Mm-hmm.
you like you said the UX thing, it was so easy. Even he could do it, and
Oh, awesome.
he doesn't know how to use tech at all. So shout out to
Mm-hmm.
BJ's in general, the store
Mm-hmm.
guys, store we talking, Mom, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
But it made it so much easier to clip coupons, and a lot of stores do that, like
Yeah.
Ralph's. I remember those days, just like the couponing and all the other stuff, because that's the work you did
Mm-hmm.
also with like the graphic design, right?
Yeah.
See, she does it all: graphic design,
Yeah.
coupons, and cybersecurity and restraining orders. No in
Yes.
between. You know?
If there's a like man, I try to man. I maybe one reason why maybe the biggest reason why I'm in data analysis is
Hmm.
because it's what helps me get my investigative side. It activates my investigative side, and it just makes me so satisfying just looking for information.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and the work that we do, like I said, we can't say too much, but
Mm-hmm.
it is I'm just like quality assurance a little bit, like testing stuff. So you need that like the creative brain with the analytical brain mixing it up together, and then you get some great work, so to speak.
Yes.
Y'all, if
Yeah.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But yeah, thanks for sharing
Yeah.
everything, Rosa. Let's
Mm-hmm.
start talking about these talking points. We
Ah,
got some
yes.
fun questions ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
I know it was a long intro because very fascinating individual. My
Mm-hmm.
sister over here, Rosa, she's killing it in the game.
Yeah.
Um, talking point number one, focusing on passion, facing the scary stuff.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
what challenge built your inner strength?
Okay. I'm going back to my dad's death, not because mostly because, okay, I guess one of my biggest fears, before it actually happened, was losing one of my parents like, unexpectedly.
Mm-hmm.
And when it finally did happen, it was then I realized that, yeah, a certain part of my life ended, but it, the whole thing didn't entirely collapse in on itself. I'm still here, I'm still alive, and even though someone I deeply loved
Mm-hmm.
and would have liked to know more of has gone. The world has moved on. In fact, I think I remember once waking up one morning, like at around dawn, and then I went outside still in my pajamas
Mm-hmm.
and watching the sunrise and realizing that, even when I'm gone, when everyone I know is gone and forgotten, world will still move on.
Mm-hmm.
And I find comfort in that,
Wow.
especially yeah, the world's not like the sun isn't going to go supernova for another billion years,
That we know
so
of, you know.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing that and being vulnerable. I know it's tough. Grief is like we mentioned earlier. It's not easy
Mm-hmm.
for anyone, and
Oh no.
but finding ways to manage the grief and then all that stress. And like you said, the mindset shift is a beautiful thing because, like you
Yeah.
said, like yeah, the sun keeps going. And what I think I was listening to another podcast. Patty Show is
Mm-hmm.
a podcast, but that's how I learned from all these other
Mm-hmm.
podcasters. There was one where someone was talking about. I think they also lost their father, and
Mm-hmm.
they were saying just how his impact was felt through him even after his passing is one of the most beautiful things, and he wants to do that for other people when he also like eventually passes. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just about the beauty of passing the love, and even when they're not there, they're still kind of there in their
Yeah.
own kind of right, you know.
Yeah, and surprisingly, it also helped refuel and just jumpstart my creative start because
Mhm.
before he died, I was in the deepest creative funk. I haven't drawn anything, I haven't written anything creative, nothing, and I just remember that there was this passage written about William Shakespeare that someone asked him, "How did you feel when your son, young Will, died?"
Mm.
Will Shakespeare thinks for a moment and he said, on one hand, of course, I was deeply grieved, but on the other hand, I realized that I finally know what it feels like to truly lose something so
Oh.
precious, and that he can finally invest that into his works. And he would later on, shortly after the death of his son, he would create Macbeth.
Wow.
I mean, not Macbeth. I'm so sorry, Hamlet.
Oh, there we go. But still, wow, that's insane. And using that pain for passion is such
Yeah,
a beautiful thing. And as you keep doing your thing, I'm so proud of you. I'm glad that you're channeling that energy,
yeah.
and I resonate with that with a lot. I remember traveling to Indonesia, and I got to see my grandpa pass away. It's a super long story. There's a lot of church
Oh my
drama, family
goodness.
drama.
Oh my
He was
goodness.
like on my lap too, but right before he passed, and I was also in the morgue, which was crazy. It's just yeah, it was wild.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still processing it now. It was a couple years ago, but his that passing really impacted me in a really beautiful way now when I think about it, because that's when I really started traveling more,
Yeah.
experiencing more people,
Mm-hmm.
and he's one of those people that I really looked up to always. He's like always he's the type of person to give like $100 to a homeless man, even if he has $0.
Oh
He'll find a
wow.
way to just
Mm-hmm.
give. He's such a loving person, and
Yep.
obviously some people took advantage of him. That's the short story
Mm-hmm.
of it.
Yes.
But I took it as a lesson of there's just too much negativity and bad people out there.
Oh,
Be one of the lights that you can be, just like the Rosa and
yeah.
Patty combination. Get the
Yeah.
good energy when we
Mm-hmm.
can, and I'm sure your pops is super proud of you. You're killing it. You're doing your thing.
Yeah.
I know I'm proud of you doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
The cybersecurity too. That one's a little wild over there.
Yeah. That was a wild card.
Yeah, that was a wild card. I didn't know that part. I did my research, but I was like, oh wow, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
Continuing on that point about facing, the scary stuff and passion.
Mm-hmm.
How do you train bravery like you'd train in a gym? Like, how do you train that muscle of
Hmm.
being brave and taking those big leaps?
That's a very good question, especially since that is something that I'm still trying to answer on my own.
Mm,
So I know I've done what I've done is just mostly seems like just experimental different ways, from simple things like keeping a sketchbook and doodling something every day, regardless of what the negative
mm-hmm.
perfectionist voice is saying. Even though that voice is saying it looks like crap, it
Uh-huh.
looks like crap. So I'm like, shut up, just let me finish.
Yes, yes.
So, and then there's another one in which I guess it's a lot more serious, in which okay, don't get this wrong,
Okay.
but just act, but okay, Thich Nhat Hanh, famous Buddhist monk,
Uh-huh.
said that if you before you go to bed, pretend that you're about to lay down, and in your sleep you will die. What are
Oh,
your thoughts beforehand? And will you
interesting.
be able to make peace? And if not, then think about what is preventing you from making
Mm,
peace. So I do that, and even though basically I don't have a obvious answer, I don't have any revelation
mm-hmm.
to share. It's just a thought exercise that I practice, no matter how morbid it
Yeah,
is.
no, honestly, I'm
Yeah.
glad that you mentioned that. I've realized the importance of just like the power of the mind when it
Mhm.
comes to like health, wellness, fitness, all that. Been doing the hot yoga. I think I told you
Mhm.
about that 10-day pass unlimited finished, but I have to get my money's worth. It's only $30.
Oh,
But
dang.
yeah, a lot of the
Mhm.
time was obviously like a lot of physical movement, sweating, a lot of sweating, but there was a lot of time to myself when I was just like laying down and focusing on the breath and
Mm-hmm.
really just having time to myself. And little exercises like that are so helpful. People don't
Mm-hmm.
realize where you can really change your mindset from just actually just taking your time and thinking about it, or having like a prompt, like you said, like, oh, what if the next moment you're gonna die? What's the last thing you're gonna think about? And there's so
Mm-hmm.
many different tips out there that people don't realize you can use to improve your life quality, help other people, and get out of a creative rut, honestly. So that's a really good tip.
Yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes it backfires because sometimes I wake up screaming.
There we go. Yeah.
Something which
Mm-hmm.
my cat, rest in peace, Martin,
That's amazing, Martin.
would wake would go like, "Oh my God, are you screaming again, human? So why are you scaring yourself?"
LOL. Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it does. Yeah, when we get a little too passionate on it, but it's okay. We learn, we grow, and we keep going. All right. Second talking point on pleasure: joy beyond the comfort zone.
Oh boy.
Okay, the comfort
Okay.
zone. How can scary experiences actually feel exhilarating?
Man.
We mentioned the
Okay.
screaming.
Yes. Yeah. So this is something that I've been thinking about. If your 20s are your own
Hmm.
flipping around time, please edit that.
No, I got
If
you.
your 20s are your flipping around time, then your 30s are your finding out. So now that in my 30s, I look back and realize that all my anxieties is that I have to accomplish X, Y, Z before I reach 30, otherwise, I'm a failure.
Mm,
And coming to terms and realizing that, you know what, even though it took me a little longer to accomplish those things, like going to grad school, starting a career,
mhm.
having a complete portfolio, doing all these things I wanted to do. I it takes time, but you'll get there. And that is something that I had to learn that slowly brings me joy. Realizing that things take time, they're just difficult. And if you don't accomplish them before a certain time period, you're not a failure.
Mm,
It's just everybody has their own time period. And it doesn't help that I was very late diagnosed for
mhm.
ADHD, especially since that, well, I didn't know I had ADHD until I was in my 30s during my grad
Really?
school. Yeah,
Wow.
what's hilarious is that when I told all my symptoms to my grief counselor, he said, "It seems that they're less, it sounds less like grief and depression symptoms and more like ADHD
Wow.
symptoms." And so, shout out to Greg Tanaka
Shout out.
for recognizing that you the real MVP.
You're the real MVP. Where
Yeah.
did you meet you said your counselor?
Yeah, my grief counselor, it
Mhm.
was at Cal State
Oh,
Fullerton
okay,
because I
nice.
told him that, like, okay, I'm really down emotionally, can't stop. My dad died suddenly, and all these symptoms are
Mhm.
showing up. And he's like, some of those symptoms sound like ADHD,
Wow.
and while most of them are definitely grief, but you might want to take a deeper look into
Mhm.
that other aspect. So I talked to a psychiatrist, and they're like, yep, you definitely have ADHD. So yeah, so I'm like, so I'm not a failure.
There we go.
Huh.
And honestly, oh man, you just took the words right out of my mouth. The timeline thing is the biggest thing where I need to constantly remind myself, and I
Mm-hmm.
like to tell people on the show, like, you really don't know where your timeline's gonna lead. It's also because we see it in social media, TV, everywhere. You see, oh
Mm-hmm.
my god, 15 years old making $1 million. I'm
Oh,
like,
tell
damn,
me about it.
let me touch a
Mm-hmm.
million dollars right now. But
Yeah.
when you look at it from like afar, you realize, wow, oh Rosa, you've done this. Oh Patty, you've done this, that.
Yeah.
You realize all the amazing stuff you've
Mm-hmm.
done, and when you really take a breath, take your time, and really expand it, you realize you've done
Mm-hmm.
so many amazing things. And
Oh, tell me about
we're our worst critics. We
it. Oh,
always
tell
want to
me
beat
about it.
ourselves up. We, like you mentioned, the whole
Mm-hmm.
perfectionism. But
Yeah.
then after like being hypercritical, you're like, they'll talk to you like, man, this podcast episode's not good, or damn, this drawing, Rosa, you really want to post this, like, and then you're like, shut up now, all right. And then
Mm-hmm.
it's just training that kind of like a muscle where you just like you kind of block out
Mm-hmm.
the noise. And obviously sometimes it does help, because I think sometimes the voices in my head help me from danger, I would
Mm-hmm.
say. A lot of the times, I'd say 8 times out of 10 they're bugging. So
Yeah, pretty
don't,
much.
yeah, don't listen to it all the time. Find a
Indeed.
way to block
Mm-hmm.
out, and after time you'll get more mature and understand how to like differentiate between like it just being noise and for like safety, you know. So
Indeed, yeah.
that it just takes time, and I'm sure
Mhm.
like therapy and all that stuff definitely helps a
Oh,
lot in that.
definitely, yes, yeah. Especially since that, guys, mental. Take care of your mental health is as important as your physical health. You don't force yourself to run a marathon on a broken leg. Why are you trying to run a marathon on a real burnt out brain?
Mm, Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's a good analogy. And shout out to
Oh
all the
yeah.
marathoners out there who are running.
Oh yeah,
No,
marathoners.
yeah, that's a really, yeah, you're right. Because there's one thing where, and I have this biggest thing with a lot of my clients in like personal training,
Mhm.
and I also get there too, where you're just like, oh, I'm gonna grind, I'm gonna
Oh
push, you know
no,
what I'm saying?
no.
Like, yeah, push heavy, which you do want to push because that's how you gain
Mm-hmm.
muscle and then progress with anything. Obviously, you
Yep.
want to do better than you did last time.
Mm-hmm.
But it like you said, if you have a broken leg, you can't push past it. The leg's just gonna get even worse. And what
Yeah,
happens is now the
definitely.
curve is like you become a shell of yourself
Mm-hmm.
because you weren't smart enough with your training, with listening to your mind, where like we have to differentiate between the noise and it actually protecting you and
Yes.
for survival.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like I said, it takes some time. It obviously helps having like a good support of people
Oh,
that can help
definitely.
recognize
Mm-hmm.
that and aren't judging you at all, because I've
Mm-hmm.
also been in points in my life where people just judge you too. They're like,
Oh,
"Oh, why are you
definitely.
waking up at?" I wake up at 4:15. Why are you waking up at 4:15 in the morning? And
Mm-hmm.
and like I get it, but like I got a lot of stuff to do, y'all. So I gotta train in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
do my thing. 5 a.m. is tough. I'm not gonna lie to you, but you
Oh,
get used to it after a
mhm.
while. But finding that balance of pushing when you need to, and then taking a
Oh,
rest when you said like the
definitely.
broken leg, the mentally like
Burnt out
burnt
brain.
out. Oh my goodness,
Burnout is awful.
it is. I felt
Mm-hmm.
it. I think a couple months ago, I was just like grinding
Oh,
to the ground. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, I need to just take a breath and just I don't know, go to Hawaii. So if you want to sponsor a Patty Show Hawaii
Mhm.
edition, let me
Oh,
know.
nice.
You know, we'll be over there. Thanks for sharing that, Rosa.
Yeah.
My next question on pleasure, though. Let's talk about you've done a lot of brave moves in your life from what you've been sharing. What's a brave move specifically that brought you unexpected pleasure? Another
Huh.
one. You did share a couple, but anything else that stands out to you?
Hmm. That's a very good question because it's just that you would think that helping your friend out and getting a restraining order against her abusive ex-boyfriend would bring a lot of pleasure, but in the end, I was just relieved that it was
No.
finally
Yeah,
over.
you're like, goddamn.
So it was just like that was a huge amount of things to take care of. There was a lot of legal issues I was not familiar with that I had to learn along the way. I'm just glad that it's over. So I'm not entirely sure where about the pleasure part, but relief that was certainly there. And I don't know. Well, that's a very good question. Again, it's just aside from that, usually it's just in my case, sometimes it's just not so much pleasure as it is a learning
Mm.
experience because sometimes on one hand I learned that oh I made a huge mistake and then I learned how to fix that mistake
Mm-hmm.
instead of panic and catastrophize everything. Or, oh, I learned that I accomplished this big thing, but in the end, it did not make as much of a huge splash as I'd expected. So a little bit
Mm-hmm.
disappointed, but ultimately I'm glad that I managed to accomplish that thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just not so much pleasure as it is just one continuous learning experience, one thing at a time. And I guess from that, again, as I read from all these philosophers and monks and religious writings from not only Christianity but also Buddhism,
Mm.
especially Buddhism, that yeah, sometimes the best thing to be to experience joy is to simply be content.
Wow. Look,
Yeah,
you've done a lot of work on your mind
content.
and everything. Well, I appreciate that because
Yeah,
it's like a breath of fresh air. Because
yeah.
I mean, people don't realize the importance of just like working on yourself and like reading a lot, going to
Mhm.
therapy, having that mindset shift because everything we do is with our mind. Like if we
Yeah.
can't, it's also like I think of that whole idea. My mom, super religious. Shout out to mom out there.
Yeah.
She's I think she's getting her master's in some sort of theology for like Christianity
Ooh,
or
that
something. She's
is
trying to be like a
really
pastor,
nice.
that stuff like that. Working hard out there.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that always stuck to me is she has this phrase called like ucapan itu doa. So it just means like whatever you say is a prayer. And I always connect that with also like whatever you say and whatever you think can become like a prayer or whatever it is. So like if I'm always beating myself up, like I'll never have my own talk show, I'll never be amount to anything. It'll eventually come back to that. But
Indeed.
whenever, like even on the days where I'm like tired, I'm like, man, should I do the podcast today? I have in my mind like, hey man, this is part of your identity. You're gonna have a successful podcast. You're gonna inspire people. You're gonna do your thing,
Yep.
hosting, presenting, everything. And I'm blessed. I'm grateful. Got a shoot coming up soon. I can't reveal too much. Signed an NDA,
Ooh.
so can't get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just blessed out there, and I'm glad that my mom taught me that. And
Yeah.
it's the same thing. The work that you're doing with your mind and just the mindset shift. It's such a powerful thing. The theme of this episode, just really shifting your mind and having time to work on yourself, because
Yeah, totally.
the mind can be our worst enemy, but also our best friend if we
Indeed.
really work on it and make it strong and keep it positive.
Which is why I'm trying very hard to reduce the amount of complaining that I do, because um, I love my mom. I deeply respect what she does, but what she does is that she's a hospice nurse. So that means she deals with the elderly, the dying, the
Wow.
terminally ill. So that's a lot of
Yeah.
responsibility. So she's got a lot on her mind. And so there are sometimes when she's so stressed out that she can barely speak. And so I try to be at least comfort her and understand that I know that she has a lot of negativity on her mind, and so she has a lot of negativity sharing with me. But in the end, what I can do is that I can at least try and, just be there for her, just be a good listener.
Wow.
Sometimes, because sometimes she doesn't need someone to say just positive things or just, all this babbling. Sometimes she just needs listening ear.
Yeah, you just need the presence. I love that. Look at that. Rosa, she killing it over here. See, you're a great daughter, great sister. And our final talking point is on positivity, okay? Because you bring a lot of joy to our team, of course. So grateful to have you. Staying hopeful in uncertainty, okay?
Ooh, yeah.
How do you keep optimism alive through tough transitions?
Oh boy, transitions. Transitions have always been a little bit difficult with me. So this, I don't know. I guess I've been trying to find an experiment with also sort of different approaches, but I guess there was like three that have so far been remaining consistent, which is again one. I'm pretty sure that you can tell that I like to do a lot of meditating. So and most of the time it's not like as deep as the first thing I do in the morning
Yes,
is
and she's
that
floating.
I sit down in lotus pose
Yes,
and
lotus
do
pose.
yoga and contemplate.
Namaste.
Yes.
Namaste.
But it's most of the time it's mostly just waking up, lying down in bed and saying, okay, I can do this, it's another day, it
Oh, I
is
like
what it
that. So
is.
you just like lay down and just that's your form of meditation. I'm glad you
Yeah.
shared that. Everyone always thinks, like you mentioned, the mumbo jumbo, like
Yes.
which no judge. If you do that, that's cool.
Yeah,
Do
that's
your
cool.
thing,
That's cool. Yeah.
But I feel like for the average person, everyone's like, that's not for me. So yeah, do stuff like that. Just lay in bed, do your thing. Make sure you don't
Yeah.
fall asleep again,
Indeed.
because waking up
But
again is always the hardest.
yeah, indeed. But shout out to my late cat who, like every day at 3 a.m., he would literally slap me awake so
Oh my
that I
God.
could prepare his first breakfast. So when I wake up at that time, I briefly meditate as well while trying very hard to prevent my cat from swapping my face again. So I'm like, okay, I'm awake, and cat, please stop slapping me.
Yes. That's so funny. That's so funny. Yeah. Shout out to
Yes.
meditation and all that stuff. You've
Mhm.
shared a lot of great tools out there and a lot of fun out there.
Yeah.
To wrap things up, is there any projects coming up soon for you that
Well,
you want to share?
they're mostly just personal. On one hand, on one hand, I have a tech blog on Medium, which I mostly just share not only my personal essays but also tech related stuff. So if you're interested in AI, machine learning, and data analysis, or even just plain, or even if you just want to read some personal essays about just random things. And yeah, you can go onto my blog.
Yeah, where can they find it? What's the link or the?
Oh, I will have to share it with you
Yes,
later
she'll share it
because
with
I
me.
have,
Don't worry, I know
yeah,
there's all the
okay.
complicated links and everything.
It should be under, it should be called just Chobatis.
Chobot it. Oh, also I
Yeah.
love how your Instagram is called what again?
Rabbit Chobot.
Rabbit Chobot. I love that.
Chobot.
Yeah, so you
Robot.
guys can see some of her amazing work there. The three pieces we saw here, there's so much more in there. We couldn't show the whole thing for the full
Yes, it's a
episode.
lot.
But your art is amazing. You're inspiring with the
Yeah,
meditation and dealing with the grief and everything that you're just doing in general. I'm so grateful to
Yeah.
have you as a friend,
Yeah.
have you as a family, and then have you on the team. And we're just so grateful for you to be on the Patty Show.
Yeah,
And we'll have you again soon for maybe another big episode.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to learn about all the tech side because my website stuff is it's okay. I had
okay.
to
It's
hire someone
understandable.
today. Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
tough.
web design is tough.
It's tough, yeah. But we've learned so much from all that, and you can find us at Patty Show Podcast at Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all of that.
Yeah.
PattyShow.podbean.com, PattySetiati.com/podcast. And what was the Instagram again? At
Rabbit Chobot.
Rabbit Chobot from her last name and then robot.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No
about
worries. That's the perfect time and that's our cue. Usually we like to end with a little arigato at the end. So we'll do that for our anime people. So you said Chainsaw Man's good. Any other recommendations for anime?
Oh, look back and not to mention, Kiki's Delivery Service is great for anyone who's going through a creative rut. Shout out to Kiki's Delivery Service.
Okay, I might need to get in that because I'm kind of in that creative rut. But yeah, we'll end on arigato on 3. So 1, 2, 3. Arigato.
Thanks for joining me on this episode of The Patty Show. I hope you had as much fun as I did exploring the crossing point of the 3 Ps: passion, pleasure, and positivity. If you want to keep the Patty Party going, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and all social platforms at Patty Show Podcast. Share this episode and leave a positive review. PattySetiati.com/podcast, as well as PattyShow.podbean.com have got more of your Patty Show needs. In the meantime, keep passionately pursuing your personal paradise. Arigato.